Hi there, this video's live, it's stream.
67 people
Horrific.
confirmed to have died in wildfires.
Total wipeout, fire, wildfires.
Natural disaster in the state's history.
While Hawaii,
Hawaii's
climate change weather forecast UK
how
from
authorities responded
times
to
down
the
there.
fires after
6:01
some residents
AM in the
said
morning.
they have no warning. With the latest
And it is,
details,
you
here's
name it,
our
guys.
US West Coast correspondent Sophie Long.
Saturday the 12th of August,
The
2023.
historic city of Lahaina, once the capital of the Hawaiian kingdom, has been reduced to ruins.
It's really
Almost
quite a
everyone
tragic
who
loss
lives
of people
here
and lives.
has lost everything.
And a whole town or
We
city.
already know this is
gone.
the deadliest disaster in the state's history, and the number of those who died is still climbing.
This is very severe.
This was Lahaina's historic seafront, now reduced to ashes. Bustling streets and shops, all razed to the ground.
So sad. Such a
Thousands
beautiful
have been
place.
left homeless by the ferocious
And they filmed
flames
Baywatch there as well,
from
season
offshore hurricane.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
They
11
flocked
and
to
12.
shelters seeking food and water. The need for assistance is great, but so too are the challenges to meeting it. The only land route to those most in need has been blocked. As road access to Lahaina was opened and people started to make their way back to see what, if anything, remains, Hawaii's governor urged people to prepare themselves to witness destruction like they've never seen. Even the world's wealthiest have been touched by this tragedy. Oprah Winfrey, who has a home on the island, has come to help. The billionaire Jeff Bezos has pledged $100 million to help with the relief effort. This island, once a picture of paradise, is in pain. Questions are being asked about the preparedness of the authorities and whether adequate plans have been in place to meet the ever-increasing threat of fire.
This can happen again, and so we need to have as many takeaways and lessons learned from this, because it absolutely must not happen again. This was absolutely tragic.
It sure was.
Now they're focused on the immediate task at hand.
A volcano. Well, they did have volcanoes in Hawaii.
And rising from the ruins. But it will cost billions to rebuild, and it's hard for some to even think about that, with so many
serious
and unrecovered.
devastation or loss of life, let alone a property as well. It's crazy.
Yes, we can speak to Sophie now, who's in Maui. Sophie, I know you're at one of the rescue centres there. We see it's obviously pretty busy. It's mid-evening. But the real worry now, clearly from your report, is those people who are as yet unaccounted for.
It certainly is.
Yeah, and there are many of those, Charlie. I think everyone who lives in Lahaina knows someone who is unaccounted for, and what we're hearing now are the many harrowing stories of those who've survived, people who are trying to get through their day of work, just not knowing where their loved ones are. We spoke to one young man when we arrived at the airport who said that he'd actually been to the morgue in search of his friends and family. And he
grim, innit?
the number of phones you could
This is
hear
tragic loss of life, guys. This is heartbreaking.
Trying to get in touch.
All these people that live there, it's very emotionally tragic. All due to climate change and to the hurricanes and everything else across the Pacific and the world globally. And to El Nino.
We're just speaking to one woman who managed to escape from her home. She drove as far as she could. She had to evacuate her car, and she has a 70-year-old mother that she lives with. She has now been reunited with her, but it wasn't until the next morning her mother, Rebecca, who I also spoke to, spent the night in her car. So we're hearing now of those stories of survival and also heroism. Rebecca and Liz were with two children that they were looking after because their mother was actually swimming supplies into Lahaina. They can't even get them in by boat at the moment because there's no dock. So we're just starting to hear from people now what happened, and also a sense of anger, really, that they weren't given more warning.
Sophie, for the moment, thank you very much.
What a tragic loss.
More stories now with Victoria.
Well, detectives investigating the murder of a 10-year-old girl who was found dead in a house in Surrey say that 3 people that they want to speak to have left the country.
That's my town.
Our reporter Louise Pilbeam
This is quite a tragic loss as well.
Can you tell us more?
This is very sad local thing in Woking live right now.
Well, Victoria, what we know is that police were called to this house here just before 3 o'clock on Thursday morning to reports of a safety concern, as they put it. Now, when they entered, they found the body of a 10-year-old
Not far from Woking Park,
girl.
I think, by the looks of
And
it.
there's a lot about what happened here that we don't know, and police will be carrying out their examinations, their post-mortem examinations on Tuesday to try and find out how the 10-year-old girl died. But what we do know is that police are wanting to speak to 3 people in connection to this case who they say have left the country. They say that they left the UK on Wednesday, which would be before police were called here and found the body of the 10-year-old girl on Thursday. Now, they say that no one has been arrested and there isn't any danger to the public. People have been coming here. You'll be able to see bouquets of flowers that they've been leaving. Some neighbours have told us that a family lived here who had 6 children. Now, this is a quiet, leafy road with lots of houses around. People here are still asleep, of course, most of them, as they try to come to terms with what happened to this young girl.
Louisa, thank you.
There you go, guys.
Outside the house in
Incredible.
Woking. Thank
Sad.
you. Now, asylum seekers who were moved off the Bibby Stockholm barge in Dorset after harmful bacteria was found in the water supply say they've been told they're going to be back in a week. The first migrants.
It's so embarrassing for us to do that for your party. But we're doing the right thing. Excuse me, you eating robots, you're fine, all safety. You don't look great. You know what, Mr. Richard? I think you should resign. I think you should have a general election. I will not do it. Well, this is an embarrassment to your party.
Would be accommodated there,
I think we've had enough of this Conservative Party, haven't we? We all want a new party to take over, try and run the country, get it sorted out. Might take a painful 5 years, but we need to get rid of this party right this year. This Conservative Party's done the country no good.
Lung infection. Now, the government
It's embarrassing.
This is purely a precaution. It says that the health.
It's an embarrassment on the bloody government. Come on, guys.
It's utmost priority, but critics say this
He's a jerk, Mr. British Senate is. An absolute jerk.
Safety.
An embarrassment to the UK, just like his predecessor Boris Johnson.
Having coughing and breathing problems, and he knows of others who've had sore throats. It comes just a few days.
Well, it's not fit to live in, is it?
Immigration Minister Robert Jenrick and the Justice Secretary.
Let's just scrap the idea.
Called the barge a safe place to live, and it comes following the release of fresh figures which really show the extent of this issue. 100,000 people making that treacherous journey across the channel in the past 5 years.
It's a joke.
755 on Thursday alone. Whichever way you look at this, in a week in which the government was hoping to show that it was getting a grip of this
It's an embarrassment this government is to this country. General election, snap election. Now.
Now, the RMT union has announced yet
more train strikes,
which are going to affect the August bank holiday.
I thought they might do that over the bank holiday weekend.
On Saturday,
there's a massive train strikes.
August and the following Saturday as well. It's going to affect 14 train operating companies, and it is just the latest.
Oh, not 16 then. It's like they're running out of steam here.
Overpay and conditions as well. Health bosses in England say the NHS cannot deal with more disruption as junior doctors stage their latest walkout over pay. They're striking for a 5th time and won't be back at work.
There you go, a lot of strike action.
Ministers say they've offered a fair pay settlement, but the British Medical Association has accused the government of driving doctors away.
So like this video, please a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel on Sunday Jones. This is my friend Sparking Jimbo on the ITF Friday thing. Surrey Hills Race Station every Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. analog. This is actually 170 ITF Friday thing. Surrey Hills Race Station. Listen to our last show live with John and Matt on the Waking Radio Station every Sunday at 9 to 12 p.m. And listen to my friend Shane's radio station show on the Surrey Hills Radio Station show for the years every Monday morning. And subscribe to my channel on Sunday Jones. Let's watch the video. Bye everyone.